Hola and welcome to Spain Impossible. I'm your host, Jim. Today we are talking about Spain versus the USA, healthcare costs. I got a quote from a Spanish healthcare provider that meets the visa requirements, and we're going to talk about that today. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember to subscribe and like. And if you're so inclined and you got value from this stuff, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee up there with a little QR code, I think maybe over here. So I got a quote from a Spanish insurer that covers exactly what needs to be covered under the Spanish visa requirement for a 1 year. You have to have 1 year of health care when you apply for the visa in Spain. So before I get to that amount, I'm going to talk about what we pay on our family plan here in good old USA. So my wife actually works in the medical field, so we get what I consider to be probably some of the best benefits I've seen in my employment history, and at a really good rate compared to other employers and my employer, which is almost twice the cost out of our paycheck every month. So we insure through my wife's employer, and that costs us $197.16 per month. That comes directly out of her paychecks. Now, that's cheap as far as I'm concerned, because with my employer, it's like 380 something. So good benefits. Now, her employer pays almost $11,000 a year on her behalf for this coverage. So on top of the $200 a month that comes out of her paycheck, comes out of our budget to have these great benefits, the employer pays $11,000 a year for this plan. Now, you would think, hey, that's like, $14,000 a year. You must have everything covered, right? No co-pays, no nothing. No out-of-pocket, no deductibles. No. We have individually $4,000 per person deductible. That other than a yearly physical, this insurance pays nothing. Nothing until I have reached $4,000. Then it'll start paying my stuff. When my wife reaches $4,000, then it'll start paying her stuff. And we also have our son covered on there, and I think his is like $1,500. But, let's just keep it simple. We'll talk about my wife and I. So $8,000 out of pocket, and we're paying somewhere around $2,400 a year out of pocket already to have nothing covered but a yearly physical until we have put $8,000 of our own money out, whether it be prescriptions, which my wife has some pretty expensive prescriptions because she's got an asthma issue. And it's unbelievable. If we were to have a major catastrophe, our out-of-pocket maximum, in other words, after we reach our deductible, after we paid our $8,000 plus the $15,000 for my son, so once we have paid out $9,500 for the year, we have a co-insurance, and it's 90-10, which is very good. So we will still be responsible for 10% of all costs moving forward after our deductible has met. Now, if we have a catastrophe, we have another level, which is our out-of-pocket maximum. And our out-of-pocket maximum for this family plan is $23,000, including deductible. So I have a heart attack, need surgery, spend weeks in the hospital, blah, 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 blah. It runs up $100,000 in medical bills. We have to pay $23,000. And we pay $2,400 a year, and her employer pays $11,000 a year. Plus, we got to come up with $23,000 if something major happens. That's why I am so interested in moving to Spain. Because let me share with you the quote. I'll put it up here on the screen. I just did a little clip out of the email that I got back with the quote. It is the price. I read through the whole email. Unless I want to add dental or I want to add some other options, what I need in order to cover me, myself, and I. So with my wife, we'll have to double this. I did not ask about a family plan. I did put in that I am 55 years old, which I am not. But by the time I move to Spain, I will be 55 years old. So I wanted an accurate quote representing how old I'll be when I move to Spain. So up here, hopefully I still got it up there. I'll have to maybe put it up a couple of times, whatever. Anyways, I'm not that great at editing. You guys know that. So the quote for Spanish coverage, $114.35 a month, which comes out to $1,372 a year, $1,372 a year. Half of what we pay. I did not check on the family plan. I have, through research, figured out that it's not always adult for adult. If you're doing a family plan, there is a reduced cost in there. But even if it was, myself and my wife, so we would be paying equivalent to slightly more than what we are paying out of her paychecks right now. No copays, no deductible, hospitalization covered. So if I have a heart attack and I need surgery and I'm spending a couple of weeks in the hospital, we're not on the hook for $23,000 before the insurance pays. What are we on the hook for? Zero. The insurance that we pay for in Spain covers it all. Now, there are a few things outside of it, but at reading through it, it covers things like chemotherapy. It covers MRIs, which I just recently had to pay $500 out of pocket for the MRI and another $98 to the radiologist to take a look at it, because that's not included. So the total cost of the MRI, by the way, was like $970 something. Oh, I paid $575. It was like $970 some for the MRI. But according to the paper that I got in the mail, the explanation of benefits, because of our insurance has negotiated a lower rate of $575 for that particular service, I only had to pay the $575 because my deductible's not met yet. I spent 10 weeks out of work because I slipped and fell on the ice and messed my knee up bad. It's cost me more than $2,000, and I didn't need anything. I didn't get casted. I didn't get surgery. I didn't need crutches because I had some here at home. All that was the emergency room visit, the two doctors' visits afterwards, the MRI, and the initial x-rays that were at the hospital, which on the initial x-rays, they missed the fact that I had broken my femur on one side, on the outside of my knee, and broken the tibial plate, which is the very top of the tibia bone, your lower leg bone, on the inside. It wasn't until I got the MRI that they went, oh, hey, look, there's a big crack here and a big crack here. By the way, be careful. Don't put too much pressure on your knee because those cracks could widen. And what happens is called a bone collapse. And then I would need total knee replacement if the bone collapsed. So it was actually kind of a running joke with my wife every time every time I stumbled or, she asked me to go upstairs for something and my knee was bugging me. And I was like, okay, whatever, but my bone might collapse, and it'll be your fault. We joke around that way. So for me, myself, and I, $1,372 to get back on topic. $1,372 for 1 year, completely covered, zero copays, zero deductibles, zero out of pocket for health insurance in Spain. And I have spent $2,000 in my deductible. I'm still not done paying my deductible yet. I got another $2,000 to go this year. So the only thing I'm getting, because if I don't have any health problems the rest of the year, I won't pay anything else out of pocket. I've got a physical coming up in a week and a half. That'll be my yearly physical. That's covered. The labs, however, are not always covered. I may have to pay some on the labs, because I want to get my lipids tested, my HbA1c, and all those good things. So I'm out more money, not even having hit my freaking deductible for the year, than it would cost me for an entire year of zero copay, zero deductible insurance in Spain. If that doesn't sink into your brain that U.S. healthcare is broken, then I don't know what will make the difference in it. Total amount paid between my wife's employer and us through payroll deductions, $14,000 a year, and we get a physical each covered. One doctor visit each covered 100%. The rest we have to pay for until we get to $9,500 spent for the year. And then the insurance will start covering something. But I can pay less than $1,400, less money than I have spent with a banged up knee, just getting it looked at, no surgery, no nothing, here in the States. Less than $1,400 for the entire year with zero copay and zero deductible. If I need health services, it's covered. $14,000, $1,400. You make the call. Now I've riled myself up and I'm all pissed off. So before I go too far, that's it for today, guys. I told you this channel is about losing 100 pounds in a year, getting out of a mountain of debt, and moving to Spain. This happens to be one of the moving to Spain videos. I have done a fair amount of research on the healthcare. I only asked for one quote. There are 4 or 5 different companies I could get quotes for, but I just asked for one just so I could have a comparison. It may be cheaper, but it's not going to be any more expensive. Now, in 2 years when I move, it may have gone up slightly, but not from $1,400 to $14,000. Anyways, remember, guys, help me out. Help spread the word on this stuff, especially the weight loss stuff, because you don't know whose life that will change forever. All of this stuff is free, so please subscribe. Give me the old thumbs up. If you want to, apparently there's a notification bell somewhere down there so that you know when my videos drop. You get a little ding, new video out on Spain Impossible. If you want to, click on that. Otherwise, I'll throw the QR code up, I think, over here, so you could snap that. If you got value from this, I would love for you to help me out. I run a website. I do all these videos. I do all this editing. I'm providing all this information for free. So if you found value, scan the QR code, buy me a coffee. I'll put the little banner thing up here. Otherwise, down in the comment or in the description of the video, there is a link to the Buy Me a Coffee, a link to the website, a link to the free health resources on the website, a link to the free debt resources on the website. I will be continuing to add things to the website. Everything's free on the website. You don't even need to put your email in. Just click on the button and it will download what's there. Each individual thing has its own thing, whether you're interested in the health, the debt, or the move. And I will continue to add resources up there. I will continue to put out this information completely free. All you guys got to do is help me out with subscribing and liking. Hey, drop me a comment. Did I miss something? Is there something you'd like me to look into that I can do a video about on the future? I would love to hear from you. And I try to respond to all my comments within 24 to 48 hours. So with that, guys, come along for the journey. It's going to be one hell of a journey. I'll see you on the next one.